Hello, good afternoon. Good day to you. This is Ivy Eyu from OrangeTee Tie Learning and Development Department. Welcome to our afternoon series of experience. Today is our episode 1, sharing with you tips on unmistaken HDB Enhanced Contra Transactions. Let's go. A little bit about myself. My name is Ivy Eyu. I've been practicing real estate since 1996. I specialize on residential property, HDBs, and private condominiums for both sales and rental. So a couple of years, we have been doing quite a lot on HDB transactions. And I also handle peculiar cases such as divorce, bankruptcy, and death of ownership. So very commonly, we have cases where we help clients buy and sell properties. Therefore, at times, we have this thing called the Enhanced Contra facilities. This is a HDB case whereby the sellers are selling and buying at the same time. So for myself, I've been doing this real estate and also sharing of my cases as a trainer in OrangeTee since a couple of years back. So what is a enhanced HDB contra? It is a buying and selling of flat A and B with the same client. So later on, I will actually have a case study to share with you how it works. So for selling of flat A and flat B, first of all, we need to assist our client to help them maneuver their CPF money and also their cash within the properties to sell flat A and buy flat B. And of course, because it's a HDB transactions, there are certain criteria and scenario whereby you can actually go through this contra. These are the 4 scenarios whereby only is able to do this enhanced contra facility. First, it has to be a HDB loan to HDB loan. So for clients currently with HDB loan, they can actually take a second HDB loan for their next purchase. Second, is HDB loan to fully paid. If, for example, they have currently with a small little balance on their HDB loan, then they would like to fully pay off their current property, the next purchase. Third, fully paid to fully paid. There are also cases where I see matured couples, they would like to sell away their current HDB and then downgrade or buying a smaller flat so that they can fully pay up the other flat. And number 4, fully paid up to HDB second loan. This will require financial calculation to see if they are eligible for the HDB second loan. So the above is all related to HDB Enhanced Contra, whereby only HDB loan or fully paid cases is able to do this facility. If your client is having bank loan, then I'm so sorry, they are not eligible for this contra facility. So let's move on to this case study where we will see Mr. and Mrs. Tan, how actually I help them to do a buy and sell. Mr. and Mrs. Tan like to sell their HDB executive mansionette at PTR Road, which is located at Bukit Panjang, and buy a 4-room flat in Bukit Batok because they would like to shift nearer to their kids who are married and got a BTO flat in Bukit Batok. They would also like to do a full payment for the next HDB flat because they are actually semi-retired. So they would like to downgrade from their big executive mansionette flat to a smaller 4-room flat so that they can easily manage the cleaning and when their kids and grandchildren visit them. So what are the things to look out for when we are helping a client with this situation? First of all, you have to ask them if they have any outstanding mortgage loan under HDB or bank. So again, let me repeat. If they are having outstanding loan with bank, they are not able to do this enhanced contract. So for Mr. and Mrs. Tan case, they have already fully paid up their executive mansionette and they would like to buy their 4-room flat also fully paid up. So definitely they are eligible for enhanced HDB contract. Second, let's look at the seller's age. Because for Singaporeans or PR above the age of 55, your ordinary account savings will be different. It will become a retirement account. So do take note that if the sellers are actually reaching 55 or after 55, you need to ask them to log into their CPF page to double check on their status. Third, seller savings. do they have some savings on hand? Because moving of houses require fundings. For example, they need to do renovation, and of course, they also need to pay agent fee. So it's very important that the sellers should have a substantial amount of cash on hand. Next, let's look at the timing. Take for example, they want to sell like at the end of the year or Chinese New Year period. Then this will be quite a little bit challenge because festive period is not easy to market a property. On the other hand, if this couple has schooling kids, they may also be looking at June holidays, December holidays to move. So when you are planning the marketing stage, it's important that you have to go online and together with them so that over later on, I'll be sharing with you the HDB process timeline on how do we actually manage a contra facility. Next, flat A, the buyers have to allow extension of stay for Mr. and Mrs. Tan. Because when they buy for flat B, they do need a minimum renovations. So when we look out for the flat for them, we also have to consider that. And for the flat B, the sellers of flat B have to allow Mr. and Mrs. Tan to have this early renovation, whereby they will proceed to sign on this HDB indemnity form. This is one of the very important process where if we do not have a flat B that allows them for early renovation, then their move in and out timing will be challenged. So we move on to this, what happens before and after the age of 55 if you were to sell your flat? Mainly your CPF money will be in a different situation. So if you sell your flat before the age of 55, you will need to refund your principal amount plus accrual interest to your ordinary account. And subsequently, you can use 100% to buy the next house with your OA savings. However, if you were to sell your flat after the age of 55, then you will need to take note. Besides the refund of principal sum and accrual interest, they will need to have set aside a sum of money for their retirement account called RA. So how much will the RA be? It depends on a yearly basis. Every July of the year, this CPF will actually announce what is the minimum sum. So it also depends on what scheme that they are looking at. So then again, you have to ask your client to log into mycpf.government.sg to double check on that. Then subsequently, after the retirement sum is already filled up, then they are able to use the balance of the CPF to buy the next property. I'll move on to the seller financial calculation. This is a scenario for Mr. and Mrs. Tan. For them, selling their EM is fully paid. So I will do a market analysis and double check. So I've managed to find that the sale price of their EM is approximately 630,000. So after doing a search and confirm with them, they have a CPF refund including accrual interest total amount at 450,000. So by using the resale price, the possible resale price minus off the CPF refund including accrual interest, they are able to get a possible sales receipt proceeds of 180,000. This is more than sufficient for them to move house. But on the other hand, I will also need to check their available CPF in their current OA. Now, why is this so? Because in the buying and selling of HDB flats using Contra, if they do not have the sufficient money in their current OA, they may need to use cash to top up for the stamp fees and legal fees. So it's important to check with them too. So for Mr. and Mrs. Tan case, because they do have the sufficient in their CPF OA account, I will tell them about the HDB legal fees and of course the agent fees. So all this for selling itself, they will be able to get a possible sales proceed 180,000 minus off the agent fee and the HDB processing fee, left about 165,000 and more. And of course, their 100% CPF, 450K, is able to buy the next flat. So on the other side, for flat B, we will calculate for their 4-room purchase. After checking HDB transactions, I was able to see that the 4-room located at Bukit Batok is approximately 470,000 at value. So assuming they are buying at value, they are able to use their CPF refund 450,000 plus their current CPF in OA. So I will use that as a total available CPF highlighted in blue, 518,000. And I'll calculate for them their stamp fee. Now, stamp fee is applicable for them, but because they are buying and selling at the same time, plus it's a HDB property, so there is no ABSD required. They only required to pay the normal stamp fee formula minus 5,004. So this 8,007, we can use their existing OA to pay it off. And subsequently, with that amount, minus of the 8,007, they have 509,300K, whereby they are able to buy the next HDB flat. Then I will go through with them what are the other costs for buying. Conveyancing by HDB is estimated about up to $350. Cash for option and exercise option, I will help them by reducing it to 500 to 500 because they have more than enough CPF. So actually they don't need to pay so much cash in terms of the option fee and the exercise option fee. Then the HDB registration fee is $80. Request to value is $120. And not forgetting, there will be an agent fee plus GST of 1% for buying. So in all, I will calculate for Mr. and Mrs. Tan, they are fully used up all their CPF and they do have some in excess. Plus, they need to fork out 6,000 plus for the transaction and costings. So I will tell them, yes, it's very good. For their case, we can go ahead to sell their executive mansionette and buy a 4-room flat in Bukit Batok. So next, I will proceed to explain to my clients how the HDB process timelines will be. Let's talk about the normal sale, whereby there is no extension of stay. We will sell flat A, get the option fee, exercise option fee, and subsequently submit to HDB resale portal. Within the first 2 weeks, you'll be receiving HDB acknowledgement that they have received your case and processing. Subsequently, another 2 weeks later, the clients will be informed they will need to do an online acknowledgement of documents, and followed by another 4 weeks, total of 8 weeks upon receiving the application, HDB will do up their completion appointment. For Mr. and Mrs. Tan case, because it's an enhanced HDB contra, we will need to have this extra application called the extension of stay and agreed by the buyer of flat A. So they will have up to 12 weeks to move out. So proceeding with buying of flat B for Mr. and Mrs. Tan, during this time when I'm selling their flat, I will recommend that you will also bring them to see the current flats 4-room available on sale. Why is this so? So that you can actually prep them and kind of shortlist some of the properties in the market. So for selling of flat A, once you find a buyer, we still need to wait for the 21 days to allow the buyer to exercise option first before we place the option for the purchase of flat B. This is very important because as long as there's no exercise of option, it's not considered a done deal. So when we are doing the negotiation for flat A, we need to also inform the buyer of flat A about the extended stay and also 40 to 60 days submission. This is just in case we do need extra time for Mr. and Mrs. Tan to find their flat B. So while we are processing the whole 2 cases together, when we submit according to the resale portal, receive the acknowledgement from HDB and acknowledge online documents, then subsequently we have this HDB in principle approval letter. Now this HDB approval letter is very important because there are some cases whereby completion is delayed because of some grant issue by the buyer or certain eligibility issue. So in order for us to proceed on with these enhanced contra facilities, making sure everything is smoothly in place, you will need to have this HDB in principle approval letter before we can move ahead with the other step by asking the flat B owner to allow us early renovation permit. So by signing the HDB indemnity form, it is very important because over there are terms and conditions on how the handover will be. So according to my chart over here, you can see I highlighted in the red dotted box, we will only be able to sign the HDB indemnity form. And by the time, of course, we need to find a flat B whereby the seller of flat B will be moving out already. So when we do this timeline together, it's very important because we need to have an extended stay for flat A and then an early renovation request for flat B. So when we do a buy and sell like this, the timeline we need to calculate for them in the next upcoming 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and even 2 to 3 months. It may seem very difficult, but no worries. As long as you have already planned out the dates for them, we will be good in place. So the whole case will require actually 2 parts. The submission of the resale portal have to be back to back within 7 days of submission to HDB. And then the HDB completion will be together for the 2 flats. So all 3 parties, seller of flat A is the buyer of flat B, buyer of flat A, and the seller of flat B. So total, there will be 3 parties in the case. The whole case will roughly complete within 12 to 16 weeks. That is 3 to 4 months. So you will need to prepare your client, the selling process, and the buying process together. So what happens if one of the party they can't commit? Then I'm so sorry, the contra case will not be able to move ahead. Why? Because in HDB context rules and regulations, only one party is allowed to contra, meaning that only Mr. and Mrs. Tan, who is the seller of flat A and the buyer of flat B, is able to do contra. So there are questions being asked by some OrangeTee associates related to enhanced contra. What if the buyer of flat A is taking a bank loan or the seller of flat B is having an outstanding bank loan? Can we still go ahead to do the contra? Yes, you can, because they are not considered a contra party. The contra party is actually only Mr. and Mrs. Tan, whom they have an outstanding HDB loan or fully paid up, or buying the next flat with HDB loan or fully paid up. So regarding the other 2 parties, if they have a bank loan, will not affect the whole HDB contra facility. So this HDB timeline is very important. We need to advise them. So if we are selling their flat at the end of the year or early of the year where festive period is, you will need to take in place, perhaps the 60 days open of option may not be sufficient because during festive period, the HDB legal and HDB offices may not be open. Okay. Okay, so do remember, for any HDB contra facilities, it's always good for you to check their financial obligation, financial situation before we move ahead. And always remember, HDB has a one-stop platform for all salespersons to obtain the latest information on policies and procedures. It is also important for us to possess the needed competencies and skills so that he or she will be able to offer accurate advice to your clients. Should you have any further questions regarding to HDB contra facility, you can send an email to OrangeTee, learning@orangetee.com, and we will be able to assist you. Thank you for watching this live streaming on episode 1 for this sharing. Have a good day.